Welcome back to Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel and today I will review this 511 AMP24 backpack. But before the review, just want to say that I did start cooperation with 511 Finland earlier this year, and as a part of that co-op I get to test their gear, and I did receive this backpack and some of the gear set accessories for free. However, I did mention that I try to keep my reviews as unbiased as possible, and even with that knowledge they still let me have this backpack. So that out of the way, let's jump right into it. AMP stands for All Missions Pack, and I'm going to look at this backpack through the lenses of my mission, which is being outdoors, going on hikes and overnight trips with this pack. And the number 24 does not actually mean the volume of this backpack. So this is not a 24-liter backpack, this is actually a 32-liter backpack, which in my opinion is just the right size for overnight trips. But the 24 instead refers to how many hours 511 thinks that you can sustain yourself with the pack. So 24-hour pack. The whole lineup is named in a similar fashion, and I think that's a fairly clever way of naming the backpack, especially since 511 is an American company, and Americans, I think they use cubic inches for the volumes, whereas we use liters, so we don't have to do any sort of conversions when looking at the backpacks, but just think about the hours. How many hours are we going to use this backpack at a time, for example? So 24-hour backpack. This is in kangaroo color in its standard configuration with the 9x9 hexagrid panel attached, but more on this later. I will give you my pros and cons of this pack. I've been using it now for a few months. You've been seeing it on videos and on my Instagram as well. I like to actually use gear before giving my review, imagine that. And so far I've been liking it, but there are a couple of things that I think you should be aware of if you purchase this backpack for outdoor use. But let's start with the exterior features from the backside. So first of all, you do have nice enough padding on the shoulder straps. They are well contoured, and also they do have these clips here for quick release. The sternum strap is completely removable if you choose to do that, and it does have this ladder feature so you can adjust it, and I do actually prefer this type of ladder system for adjusting the height of the sternum strap so it doesn't move around when you move. Then a couple of elastic loops here for running a hydration bladder through those. It does not come with the waist belt, but you can attach any belt through these included buckles. And for example, if you have let's say a paddle belt, you can just use the paddle belt as a waist belt and route the internal belt through these, and you can carry a lot more in this pack. But what I've found in my testing, although I would have had that option to use a paddle belt as waist belt, you never really carry that much of a gear for 24 hours that you would need the waist belts anyway. But I believe in the biggest versions of this AMP backpack, there's the waist belt also included. Then the backside, this is of course internal frame pack. It does have this kind of a sheath inside. It is bendy, but somewhat stiff at the same time. It does have a nice channel here for cooling. And when you look from the sides, you can see that this is actually kind of like almost a separate piece of the main compartment of the pack, and that's because it is the sleeve for a hydration bladder or a laptop. You do have a standard hook and loop tab here to hang your hydration bladder from, and actually there's a couple of straps at the bottom here, which is one of these pack's many clever but somewhat hidden features. So if you decide to put a laptop inside here, the straps hold it up here. so the laptop doesn't fall all the way down. So if it would and you place your pack on concrete or something, you might damage the laptop, but thanks to those straps, it sort of hangs in the air and protects it from the any impact from the bottom. There's also a small area up here with this coating, which I assume is for writing your name, but I wouldn't recommend it because this pack actually does have a place for a name tab. I will show you that in just a second. Then maybe the final part of this load bearing system that I want to highlight is that the shoulder straps do have this soft material right around your neck. So depending on your build and your size, this might be touching and scrubbing against your neck, but thanks to this material, it's actually very, very nice and doesn't tear the skin or anything like that. And yet the material itself is 500 denier nylon, and the bottom is actually 1050 denier nylon, I believe, and water resistant. So when you place it, no matter where, especially in outdoor environments, water doesn't immediately seep through. But then moving on, you have the standard grab handle, good quality grab handle. On the sides, you have these sleeve pockets that do go all the way down here. So you can fit a full bottle, Nalgene, whatever, in there. It doesn't have any type of MOLLE or pulse weapon or anything like that on the sides, but those sleeve pockets are accessible on both sides. They are identical. At the bottom, you also have one more pocket. It's not a big one, but it's just big enough for if you want to carry, let's say, a rain cover for this pack, or maybe a poncho or something else that you want to have quick access to, but want to sort of keep out of the way at the same time. So that's at least what I've been using the bottom pocket for. Then up here, there's a small pocket that is actually great for sunglasses because it is fully lined with this soft material, so it doesn't scratch the lenses at all. Another one of those clever little features. Then of course the main thing that catches your eye is this Hexagrid panel, which is part of this AMP series gear set feature. All missions pack basically refers to the possibility that you can swap out this whole panel and switch something else instead. But before swapping it out, I just want to mention that there's the 511 logo that also acts as a place for morale patches, or you can even put them here as well. And if you open up this flap, there's another sleeved pocket here that you can use, for example, putting a sitting pad or something else in there. And when you fold this flap inside, now you can see this Velcro area, which is the part that I mentioned that is just about perfect for a name tag. A clever little feature that I'm not sure if 511 even mentions on their website that it has it, but anyway, it's the kind of a pack that when you start using it, eventually you find out that there's sort of more features than you at first expected there to be. But looking at the gear set here, so first of all, this Hexagrid panel makes it possible to mount any type of MOLLE or pulse pouches, and you can mount them vertically or sideways or in an angle or any way. It's kind of a clever little feature, and to me this does not scream military or tactical, and that's, I guess, one of the pros or cons depending on what type of a backpack you're looking for, because this is something that I could definitely see using as a everyday carry, or like almost like gray man type of a backpack. Doesn't scream military, but it is still highly functional. And if you want to get rid of this panel and use something else, you just unclip the bottom compression straps, then the whole thing comes apart, and there's just plastic G-hooks at the top, like so you can remove it completely. And of course you can run the pack like this if you're really big into morale patches or something like that. But the main idea is that now with this you can put whatever gear set accessory you want and just replace the one that comes as a default. So, but let me just put the standard one back in. So that's fairly simple. You flip it upside down, run the G-hooks in, and it's actually a lot easier to put this on than take it off. That's the nature of the G-hooks themselves. Lay it back down and attach bottom to the compression straps. And there you have it. I think that's now all of the exterior features checked. Let me just open this backpack and remove the sleeping bags that I have inside here and show you the features of the inside of the pack. So I guess the first thing that I could show is that when you start opening up this lid and you come down to the compression straps, first set of compression straps, you can actually fold this down. Now you have access to the first mesh pocket. And this is very cleverly again designed that the zipper is on this side. So when you're looking at the whole lid, it looks like it's upside down, but I believe it is meant for this exact use. So you can flip it like this and have access to the first pocket without opening up these compression straps. But when you do open them, you now can start to really open up the whole pack. And it is a clamshell design. And on the lid, you can see there's two zippers that access the second mesh compartment. And inside here, there's more elastic loops and also a plastic clip where you can hang your stuff from. For example, I used the plastic clip to clip into my power bank last time that I was out, so the bank didn't like go all the way down, and it was a lot easier to access when it was attached to this clip. The back side is fully lined with loop, so you can attach any hook and loop pouches to it, or even you can take a gear set that normally would go in front of the pack and attach it here as well. I found this to be useful for attaching my IFAK, because I have a tear-away IFAK. I can just leave the panel on my rucksack and use the pouch itself and snag it there. You have a couple of tabs here to hang stuff from, and then on the sides there are big sleeve pockets. And the thing is that with these side pockets, these do not share the space that the inside side pockets do. Instead, the outside ones go sort of between this fabric. This means that you kind of have to make the decision, especially if you carry like bottles or anything, that do you want to put them on the outside pocket or the inside, because they do kind of still take the same space if you use big round items. For smaller stuff, you can of course use the both at the same time. But that's it. It's pretty simple on the inside. And as said, I think the 30-liter mark is just about the right size for overnight trips. And of course, if you don't fully use the whole space of the pack, you have nice compression straps with elastic keepers to keep the straps nice and tidy. So, what about my actual thoughts on this pack? Well, as said, this has been my go-to pack for all day hikes and overnight trips for last few months, and most likely will continue to be my pack for that kind of outdoor use. There's perhaps two things that I need to mention that for some are no factor, but for me, in my use, I've noticed that I've kind of had to work around them, let's say. So first is the fact that the shape of this pack bottom is not straight. So instead you can see it's kind of rounded depending on what and how you pack it. This means that the pack doesn't really sit upright. So you always have to lean it against something. Not a big deal for some, but I just noticed, and maybe that's something that I should mention. And the second thing, which to me is a bit bigger, is the fact that it's quite hard to attach anything outside of this pack. And by anything, in my case, that has been my foldable sleeping pad. The problem is that there isn't really any attachment points at the bottom, and the side compression straps, although you can put them quite loose, but when this is fully packed, you can see that even fully extended, these compression straps don't offer that big of a space here to put a big sleeping pad on. And depending on what type of a gear set you're using, that can be an issue. The way I've circumvented that problem is that I've just run a bit of shock cord at the bottom here through whatever loops and things I can find and strap it down there. Or then you can do the same, of course, on the sides as well. There are ways around it, but as in its default configuration, it is hard to put big bulky items outside of this pack. For winter time, of course, we'll have to see, because sleeping packs are bigger and so forth. So I'll have to see how this then performs for overnight trips. I think it will be a bit more difficult to get everything fitted inside of this. But the point of these all missions pack is that you change the front panel and use whatever type of features you need for your mission. And for outdoor use, by far my favorite accessory here has been the helmet slash Shove-it gear set. And I've used it as sort of a beaver tail, putting the warm layer or whatever you want to quick access there behind the Shove-it gear set has proved to be very useful. And also, if you're using this when cycling, you can put your bicycle helmet also in the helmet gear set. Fancy that. But anyway, that is an option, and I will do a completely separate video of all the gear sets that I have and showcase the specs and how you can use them most effectively with this pack. I think I didn't mention anything about the pricing of this pack. So this does cost you roughly 200 euros. And of course, if you have multiple of these backpacks or anything else that are gear set compatible, you can switch the gear set pieces between any of those. So it is a nice feature and gives you a lot of options between different products. But there you go, that's my review of the 511 AMP24 backpack, my go-to backpack for day hiking, overnight trips and such for outdoors, which is my main mission. I will continue using this, you will be seeing this in future videos, and I cannot wait for the winter to see how I can pack things into this backpack for winter trips as well. For the price, I think it is a solid purchase, considering the materials and the features of this pack. This is not your cheap Chinese assault pack that is branded for 511. They do make quality gear. You can see it in the stitching, in the finishing and the overall engineering of this pack, that this is clearly a premium backpack. But that's it. I will leave links down in the description if you want to check the pack out. Leave any comments, questions you want down there as well. You've been watching Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel. I will see you all in the next one.